Hey everyone, thank you for listening to another episode of Spoiler Force Podcast. You can find more episodes on any podcasting platform such as Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe and make sure to follow Spoiler Force Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch.
This is Mark Witten, and you're listening to Spoiler Force Podcast. Set your heart ablaze.
This is a FlowGasm Beats production.
Alright, so this is episode 106 of Spoiler Force Podcast. My name is Ricky, and thank you for tuning in. So this is the official first episode of 2022. As you can see in the title here, I'm going to be talking about my 2021 year, recapping what I've done, what happened during the podcast, some personal things and whatnot, and a little bit of what I've done during this first month of 2022 and what the future plans are going to be, which is going to be talked about towards the end here. But first, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has been following me, whether you listen, watch on YouTube, share on social media, or join the Discord or whatever. Thank you to everyone who has been a part of this almost 3-year journey here. Funny thing too is I do want to mention that this is the second time I'm recording this episode. The first time I was kind of like all over the place. Kind of shows you how rusty I've been. So I think recording this the second time will be a little bit better. So yeah, just bear with me a few seconds here. I'm gonna take a sip of water here. All right, so the first thing I wanted to talk about was the beginning of 2021. Now, if you have not followed me on social media or just anything that has to do a part of my life, I don't really share too many personal things on my podcast or talk about too many personal things, but the start of 2021 was a bit rough. I was not expecting to go through I guess, it's not even roadblocks really. It's more like this avalanche of life that hit me in the past year or so. The start of 2021, after New Year's Day, my father passed away due to COVID complications and underlying health issues that were affected because of COVID. Now, that first month was really tough. Even now, till today, a little over a year later, it's still pretty surreal at times, and that really affected the podcast when it came to episode recordings and booking guests and doing things that I usually had fun doing. It was very tough to just even stay motivated to edit, to record, or even talk about things that I thought I enjoyed, during that time. And going through this process of losing a parent like this, it was definitely a very new feeling, and it's very painful still. But the first couple of months, I did I pre-recorded some episodes. I did like a fan cast with my cousins. I spoke with Mike Castro. He is the owner and founder for Nebula Amusements. And I had some like reviews and stuff like that, but I didn't. If you look at the episode list, it wasn't uploaded to like March, and I was like holding off on that. And if you really look at the episode list for just 2021, I had just like maybe 25 episodes, so just a one episode short of half of the year, like pretty much one episode a month type of deal. Or not a month, but like pretty much 52 weeks, so like half of the year of just like episodes. Unlike 2020, where I was pushing out so much content, but 2021 was, again, it was rough. But it was definitely a life lesson and learning curve as well. I want to thank everyone who was there for me, whether you were supporting through social media, family, friends, sending me messages, texts, and all that. Thank you guys so much for just your love and support as well. during that time, I got to go to the Marvel exhibit and at the Fenry, at the not Fenry, I don't know how I said Fenry, but at the Henry Ford um, Museum. My buddy Andrew took me there, and that was a great way to kind of just take my mind off what was happening during that time. And that was actually a really fun exhibit. Just seeing all the props and costumes and um, I guess you could say like tools that they used for each of the Marvel movies, the MCU stuff. Seeing classic comic books up there, um, looking at all the statues and figures and all that. So that was really cool. I think the best one was probably seeing the Daredevil costume in person. I thought that was really cool. Um, and yeah, that was in the Doctor Strange room, the mirror dimension. That was very like it was like a kaleidoscope sort of. It was very illusionistic. I don't know if that's the right word, but it was really cool to see the illusions that the mirror dimension can create. But that was awesome to have someone like Andrew take my mind off of that. But after that, I kind of just moped around at home. Try to do episodes. I got a few interviews in. I got to record with Annie Mia, Cloudy McDoom, Anna McArthur, who is the voice of Itadori Yuji from Jujutsu Kaisen, the English dub. So that was really awesome to talk to these amazing people before I left to Oklahoma. And that I stopped around May of last year, and from the summer of from towards Memorial Weekend to the end of July is when I started picking back up again. For those of you who don't know or who are new to the podcast, I moved to Oklahoma with my uncles to help them with their farming business and whatnot. And I thought that would take my mind off again of what happened to my family earlier last year. And in hindsight, looking back at it now, it's probably not the best decision I've made, but I have to stick with it because I've already made this choice and I cannot back out of it. Um, but going through, I guess, the stages of grief, now that I think back about it now, I kind of realized what I was going through. I believe the stages of grief were denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Um, During those times in Oklahoma, I again, when I think back about it now, I see myself, I found myself very angry and in denial. And I want to apologize to my Uncle Arthur, my Uncle Mike, if you guys ever listen to this episode. I know I did some foul shit. But yeah, I'm gonna say this to you guys in person anyway. I want to record it on the podcast if you guys just listen to it. But I kind of took it out on them without even realizing. And I think during that summer of just transitioning to a whole new place that was just isolated, and then going through crazy mood swings because of what happened to the family or to my family, it was just something that was out of my control. And I think towards mid to late July, I kind of felt a little bit of control again, where I started podcasting again. During that time, I was able to get Ann Yatko, Lucy Christian, Stephanie Nadomi, Valerie Pierce, even Greg Sestero, the actor and writer for The Disaster Artist and The Room. That time, from late July to that was probably early September-ish. I thought I was getting better, and don't get me wrong, those episodes are my favorite. Oh yeah, and I got to record with Mark Whitten too. Yeah, and the episodes of the year for me that I recorded was with Ann Yatko and Mark Whitten. Ann Yatko is the voice for Nobara from Jujutsu Kaisen and Raiden Shogun. She did some additional voices in Genshin Impact and in Violet Evergarden. Um, Speaking with her, that was probably my favorite episode. If you have not listened to that episode, you can go to my YouTube channel, and that's the first one you see for the trailer video, I guess, for my podcast. That's by far my favorite episode I recorded last year. And then a close second would be with Mark Whitten, who's the voice of Kyojuro Rengoku from Demon Slayer. He does Kazuha from Genshin Impact, a bunch of video games, and that one was really cool just to hear his perspective on um, English dub versus sub and meeting fans, and how timing was everything when it came to just doing his work, and just we talked about a lot of like not so much personal things, but like things just when it comes to like finding roles or finding jobs and stuff like that. It was really eye opening. I love that conversation between us. He was a really nice dude. Um, I got to speak with like a lot of cosplayers again. Kaya Rogoyski. That was a fun episode. We talked about like, Konosuba and her time in Japan. I'm aiming to have her back on the podcast soon. I don't know when, but I'm gonna reach out to her sometime, maybe in the next month or so. And then I had Rachta Lynn back on. Rachta's one of my favorite guests to have on. It's always a fun time with her talking about just like art, anime, manga. We even talked about Harry Potter and Robert Pattinson as Batman, so that was really fun. And if you haven't listened to that recent episode with Rachta, there was a cricket in the background, which that's like annoying to me, but it's memorable because I will always think back to that episode because of the cricket. But yeah, that's pretty much what happened with the podcast. It wasn't too many episodes, but I thought a lot of it was great. A lot of great content, and ending off the year with like reviews with Squid Game, Bunny Girl Senpai, and Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm hoping that I can kind of get back into I guess, the motions of recording again, and I'll explain more about this towards the end of the episode. But scheduling is changing a little bit here on the podcast. But yeah, back to like just what happened throughout the year. Like from September, I did my last recording with Greg Sestero, I believe. I think that was the last interview I did. Yeah, and then that was the last episode I recorded before I came back home to Michigan. And then like towards early October, I came back home to take care of my dogs, and then another tragedy happened again. I lost my 13-year-old puppy, or Morky, little dog in the family, Lilo. We named her after Lilo from Lilo and Stitch. She was the family dog, the first official family dog. We had like pets growing up, like rabbits and fishes, but we never kept them in like long term. She was actually the one that or even my dad, we kept in the family for almost 13 years, and she passed not even a week after I came home, and that really fucked me up too. And to go through that loss again, it was the first time ever losing something that precious to me. And even talking about it now, it's like it's still heartbreaking in a way, like because the purpose of me coming back to Michigan was to take care of my dogs, and then to find out like not even a week later she passes like that. And it was in a way traumatizing to me. And I was bummed out for a while, and then I tried looking for a job because I needed to find a purpose coming back to Michigan. I was trying to find a job for a good month or so. And then it wasn't till like maybe early December, where I started working at MJR Digital Cinemas, which is a Midwest theater franchise. And I work at one I've been going to since high school. And I did box office, just talking to customers and doing ticket orders and stuff like that. And that's when I started finding myself to be more happy, I guess, or in a better mood. I was doing something that I actually thought I would never enjoy, and I knocked off a job off my bucket list. Like that was actually a bucket list job of mine, to always work at a movie theater, whether it was concessions or box office or being an usher. That was just really fun in its own way, and I find it really funny too, because I was one of the older people there. And a lot of these young bucks, like they're like in their early 20s or so, going to school. And one kid, his name is Shane. He thought that I was like 18 or 19, and to me that was like such a compliment, because I feel so old now, because in the end of 2022 I'll be turning 30. And so I just feel so old, and to hear like some young kid like, oh my god, I didn't know that you were like that, like I thought you were much younger. And it surprises me at times. I know like with what I watch and how I act at times, I don't seem like my age, but I don't know, to hear that from like a young kid, it was just really funny to me. But and that was a really fun job. It was a headache, dealing with certain customers and whatnot, but it was fun. I really enjoyed that job, and I think that really took off a lot of the stress and depression that I had in my head. Um, and you know, I recently quit there like about a little over 2 weeks ago, like before the 2022 New Year. Um, and I do plan to go back to Oklahoma like in the next week or so. But that was pretty much like 2021. It wasn't much. At points in time during like the that year, it felt like I was standing still, and time was moving and I wasn't moving, and I still feel like that at times. Just recently, again, it was like not too long ago, where it was my dad's 1 year anniversary of his passing. Recording this on the 13th, and unfortunately, this weekend is another funeral that I have to go to for a cousin or big brother of mine, Lee, or known as Lemon Dome in the Twitch community. He recently passed, and due to again with COVID complications as well, and it's just kind of like it feels like history is repeating itself to me and to my family, and but this time, like after just experiencing this, I don't want to say like I feel stronger, but it's like it's sort of like a numbing sensation, but it's not. I don't know how to really word this, but it's not about me. It's about him and his family at this moment. But I do want to just bring this up because Lee was one of the family members that I have that always supported the podcast when I first started. He was the very first guest that I brought on to talk to do my first interview. You know, and he was just very open minded. We talked about Demon Slayer. He was on the Famcast last year, and actually this Saturday is the 1 year anniversary, or the 1 year recording date of the Famcast that we did. So that's going to be pretty. Still not really prepared to see that on like Facebook memories and stuff like that, but Lee was always supportive of the podcast. Every time I jumped on his Twitch stream, he always shouted me out. He always shared my stuff. Every time I had like a guest or like an interview that I was excited to have, he was always like one of the very first few that I told, like, oh my god, I got this, I got that. I remember when I got Annie Mia on the podcast, and he's not too big into cosplay, but he was one of the first people that showed me what cosplay was at the time, like growing up. And like I remember always looking at Naruto cosplays with him when he had his computer and stuff like that. We would always look at how people created their costumes. So when Annie Mia was on the podcast, he was like really happy for me. He was like, "Oh my god, this is so cool." And I believe the episode was recorded live on Twitch and Facebook, and he jumped in on the conversation too. So we're not in the conversation, but he was commenting on our podcast. So that was memorable, and the with this going on, it's just like it's been the word to best describe what's been happening is surreal. And I don't know, I just it really sucks to kind of just like experience this again. And my heart goes out to his family, to his wife, Meiku. And it feels weird to say that because like in our Hmong culture, I call her Nyeti, which is the Hmong word for older sister-in-law. So just my love to them and to the kids. His son Logan, I took him to a mini convention for the Otaku Minicon, and kind of like how I experienced the whole Marvel exhibit at Henry Ford. I kind of wanted to do that for my nephew and take him out the house to just kind of get his mind off of what's happening. And so I took him to the Otaku Detroit Minicon, and that was a really fun experience. Just seeing a lot of cosplayers, local artists, and people who put up their art stations or I forgot what the actual word is. I'm brain farting here, but like they just put up their art stuff for sale. Even like a lot of them were first timers, and I think that was really cool to see. Like Otaku Detroit put up something like this for local artists and local cosplayers and businesses, something like that. Otaku Detroit has always been supportive of the podcast too. And talking about this, I just want to bring up briefly, they I was glad that I was able to help them during their time of need too. Like when I did their I did a GoFundMe for them when they had their break-in incident, and they were always supportive, and so like I had to show my support. Like this, even though it was a small con, I still wanted to show my support to these to their business, and it was really fun just to see this. And I took my cousin. We got to see like a lot of the Genshin cosplayers. There was a Genshin panel that we attended, or we watched or listened to. That was really fun just to see like a lot of these younger folks like get into the characters and whatnot. I bought a bunch of artwork and like stickers and artist alley type stuff because I'm a sucker for artist alley. Anytime I'm at a convention, whether it's a big convention or a small convention, I always have to go to artist alley, and I have to really budget myself because if I don't, then I'll blow my whole wallet buying a bunch of stuff that, to be honest, I'll never use or hang up because I'm such an art fanatic. I just like having it because I think it's cool. But speaking of conventions, though, last year there was opportunities that I sadly had to miss out on. It was for the OkiCon and Anime Oklahoma panels, and even a media pass for OkiCon, which took place for New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, around there. Had I not been in Michigan, I would have been able to go. And Anime Oklahoma was willing to let me have a panel too in the morning when they had their event. It sucks, but it's kind of like just again like another learning lesson to kind of just be prepared, be more prepared, and to plan things out more. And it kind of just showed me where I'm at with the podcast. I'm always just like doubting myself when it comes to booking guests or getting episodes ready or doing stuff like this. And each time I get a new guest, I'm always excited, nervous, anxious, because to me, I'm just a regular person. So when I get like a guest, for example, like a cosplayer or a voice actress or an artist to jump on, whether you have a huge platform or small platform, to me, it surprises me at times to be like, man, I actually did this. I actually got this person on the podcast. Like I don't want to say humble, but like it's just, to me, it's just I never would have thought I can do this. Like even almost 3 years in doing this stuff, I still surprise myself at times. Like like people like your content, people listen to your stuff, and it motivates me to not stop, is what I'm trying to get at. And so like with missing out on OkiCon and Anime Oklahoma, I hope that if they do listen to this, that I would love to try to apply for passes or panels and media passes again. And it just showed me where I'm at. If these smaller conventions notice, or like they let me do this kind of stuff, then hopefully in the future, in the next couple of years or so, I can do bigger conventions or hopefully get invited to one as well. That's kind of like the goal of mine. Like a long-term goal for me is to be invited to a convention, and hopefully if I bust my ass this coming year, hopefully things can be set in motion for me. But I don't want to think too far ahead. But yeah, so shout out to OkiCon and Anime Oklahoma, and there's also like conventions in Arkansas that I have my eyes on. So hopefully I can do something over there since I'll be going back to that area. I also started a Discord channel not too long ago, around the end of, I want to say it was around December that I started this Discord channel. It's not a huge channel. There's like less than 20 people in it. But if you join the Discord channel, the links are in the description or on the Instagram and whatnot. If you join Discord, you'll get all the updates first. Usually I try to stay as active as I can on Discord, but then like it just really depends on how I feel. But I always put up announcements there, put up behind the scenes stuff there. So if you want to see like what I'm recording or who I'm recording with, usually I kind of share that information on there only. I don't put that on social media. But yeah, recently I just announced that I'll be having an interview with Sailor Salem Cosplay. She'll be a guest on the podcast on the 25th. That's when we're recording, but hopefully I can release that episode that same weekend. But she'll be the next guest for episode 107. And then episode 108 is, since I'll be doing that in February. I'm gonna try to aim that for like a Valentine's themed episode. I don't want to say who I'm, because I don't have a guest for that episode yet, but I don't want to say who I'm trying to reach out to yet. But yeah, go to the Discord, follow the Discord. If you're an artist, cosplayer, if you like anime, manga, comic books, we talk about all that stuff on there. If you are a podcaster, jump on there. If you find someone that you want to interview or want to collaborate with, just make sure follow the rules on the Discord and reach out to the people before just like throwing it on the Discord. Like, just be like nice about it. But yeah, that's pretty much the Discord. Nothing too crazy. Again, not even 20 people on there, and me and the mod, my cousin Michael, he's a mod on there. We're probably the most active ones on that Discord. I've been recently playing Genshin Impact more. If you don't know what that game is, Genshin Impact's a free-to-play online game, adventure game from MiHoYo. I recently got the latest new 5-star, Shenhe. I think that's how you pronounce her name. My nephew keeps correcting me, saying that I'm saying that name wrong, but fuck it. I recently got her. I'm trying to roll for the 5-star weapon for her, but I haven't had any luck yet. But I played that a lot more, and I regret not playing that game when I had the opportunity to, because that whole summer of last year, I missed out on like a bunch of banners and weapons and stuff like that. So now I'm trying to just grind a little bit more in that game. But I recently finished the latest story mode, and the cutscene was amazing. MiHoYo does an amazing job every time with these new patches. Whether you like it or not, I think it's great. I love seeing the growth of this game. What else happened? I'm looking at my list here, so if I'm like sounding like I'm, I guess, taking long breaks or pauses, I'm reading my list here. I watched a lot of movies recently, in 2021, or not a lot, but like I watched a lot. I didn't realize I watched a lot of the MCU stuff. I watched Shang-Chi, Black Widow. There was Venom that I watched, and then Suicide Squad that was on HBO Max. And Don't Look Up was really cool. I watched that in theaters. I actually used my free ticket passes when I worked at MJR to go watch that movie. And I think it's on Netflix now, so you can watch Don't Look Up. That's a really fun movie to watch. I also watched what other? Oh yeah, I forgot. I think Justice League was last year. I feel like that movie wasn't. I felt like that movie was so much longer than just last year. I feel like that was like the year before. The Snyder Cut, that was a really fun one. I believe I watched that with my buddy Andrew at his older apartment, and we kind of just geeked out seeing like the fight scenes and that Flash scene where Ezra Miller, again, it's kind of emotional for me, but he talks about like his dad and how he's going to be the best of the best, and so that really just kind of touched my heart a little bit. And I was trying so hard not to tear up watching that scene when I was at Andrew's apartment, but that was a really cool scene.
Want a simpler way to record both video and audio podcasts? Then sign up with Streamyard. Streamyard is the perfect program to create podcasts, host live streams, and even do video calls. There are many tools to help you create and design your own personal studio. You can screen share, read live comments, and stream to multiple destinations such as Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can also download your video and audio recordings after each session. Follow the link in the description, and once you sign up with the basic or pro plan, you'll earn a $10 credit to use for StreamYard. Do you want to start your own podcast? Then sign up with Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout has helped hundreds of thousands of users to begin their podcasting journey. With easy-to-use tools, you can effectively get your podcast onto many platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and more. You can view stats, create audio clips, and even have your own podcasting website. Buzzsprout also offers ideas, tips, tricks, and tutorials to help you improve your podcast. Follow the link below, and once you sign up, you'll get a $20 Amazon gift card. This will let Buzzsprout know that I sent you and also support Spoiler Force Podcast. Happy podcasting. If you're into anime, manga, or anything that's from Japan, Otaku Detroit is the place for you. Located at 513 West, 11 Mile Road in Madison Heights, Michigan, you can find a variety of manga books, anime figures, collectibles, posters, snacks, and even authentic items from Japan. Stop on by to see store owner Matt and let him know Spoiler Force sent you.
Yeah, I got into like a lot more anime this year. During this past summer, I watched Tokyo Revengers. Honestly, I did not give that one a try. Like I watched the first episode and did not like it, and then because I had so much time during the summer because I worked at the farm, um, I pretty much binged it and I loved it. And I actually caught up on the manga too. So I'm like 2 chapters behind. I'm about to read that eventually, but anyone who wants to talk about Tokyo Revengers, please reach out to me. Hopefully, we can do an episode about Tokyo Revengers. Um, I caught up on Shield Hero because Shield Hero was supposed to have a season 2, but that's not dropping till like April of this year. So I caught up on that. Shield Hero was really cool. I did not expect it to be like that. I knew what the premise was. I knew that there was a lot of controversy with like the first couple episodes, but I did not expect it to be like that for the story to turn out the way it did. So that was really great writing, and the animation was amazing for Shield Hero. And then I also watched Gridman and or SSS Gridman and Dynazenon. Shout out to my cousin Michael for introducing me to those anime. I watched Gridman a little bit, but I never really got into the whole like overall theme and message of the anime, which I thought that was really cool. My cousin got super into it, and so we talked about the music video and the overlying themes and messages for the characters and whatnot. So hopefully we can do an episode on that too. And apparently there's going to be a crossover with Gridman and Dynazenon. I think it might be a movie instead of a third season, but I cannot wait for that. We binged that. I got stuck in Texas last summer because I was supposed to come for my dad's 50th birthday celebration, and I didn't make it because American Airlines decided to just cancel my flight and not tell me what the hell was going on. So fuck American Airlines, fuck that place. They're the worst airlines ever. Fuck them. But because of that, I got stuck in Dallas, unfortunately, and thank God my 2 of my cousins did not go, or 3 of my cousins didn't go. My cousin Michael, Danny, and Melody, they stayed behind, and I got to hang out with them. So that was, again, that's really cool. That I love that I have my cousins in Texas because Dallas is such a huge area. Speaking of Dallas, we went to Hatsuyuki, which is a sushi bar in downtown Dallas, I believe, or downtown or uptown. I don't know, but Hatsuyuki was by far the best sushi place I've ever been to. Like, it's fresh sushi right in front of you. The chefs make it and they give it to you, and you like the uni was probably my favorite, and then the fried salmon was my favorite, and then the uni plus 1, which was the it had a quail egg on it, so that was really good. But yeah, man, I haven't had sushi like that ever. And again, before I even ate that kind of sushi, I was never really big on like raw sushi. And after eating there, my whole opinion on sushi has changed. So any place that I go that I compare it to that now. And Hatsuyuki is by far the best sushi place I've been to. So thank you, Michael, for taking me there. And then I spent my time in Dallas with my cousin Michael. We watched Dynazenon and Gridman. And we got to talk about like Porter Robinson and stuff like that. And actually this year, or not this year, but 2021, I was introduced to Porter Robinson too. So I really like his music. Eventually, once I save up more money, I'll probably buy his other albums too. But yeah, I got stuck in Dallas. What else happened? Other animes I've been watching. I was waiting for Chainsaw Man. That's not dropping until later this month, I believe. This month or next month. I started reading the manga for that, and then I stopped. Jujutsu Kaisen, I watched that last year. I started reading the manga after the season 1 anime ended, but then I stopped as well because I get so sidetracked with a lot of stuff. Demon Slayer. I have a lot to say about the whole Demon Slayer thing. I'm not going to go too detailed with that because that's like another episode in itself. But I was kind of disappointed with how they did season 2 because they did the movie, and then season 2 had like the new episode with Rengoku, and then it was pretty much the movie with a few extra scenes, and then now they're in the entertainment district, which is going on right now. Honestly, it was a little bit lackluster, but I still watched it regardless because it's Demon Slayer. There was also Miruko-chan, which is like a horror comedy themed anime. I made a post about this, and Komi Can't Communicate and tagged OP Destiny. So if you follow me on Instagram, I made like my quick reviews, non-spoiler reviews about these. anime series. Which those three were really fun to watch. Miruko-chan is hilarious. I love Sora Amamiya. She's queen. Um, Komi Can't Communicate was very wholesome. I love that. Tact OP Destiny had a really original feel to it. I love the classical music twist with it, like the characters playing music and how like the fight scenes involve classical music and stuff like that. I love that. But speaking about wholesome animes like Komi Can't Communicate, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is summer anime of 2021. I don't care what anyone says. That anime blew me away. That was the one I was like so excited to watch. I loved that show. I can never stop talking about Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Not Kobayashi Can't Communicate. Oh my god, that'd be such a nice twist if Kobayashi couldn't talk and Toru has to help her out. But Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid was by far my favorite anime of 2021. I just loved everything about it, from the animation to the storyline, the comedic relief, seeing all the characters again, like Toru, Elma, Lukoa. I loved it. I loved it. Loved it. Loved it. It was great. What else did I watch? There was Platinum End, which is by far the worst thing I've watched last year. It's still ongoing now, but it's the shittiest anime I've ever watched ever. Just because I believe the writers are the same ones that did Death Note. They carried that hype with them, and Platinum End is absolute trash. And the worst part about that is that I'm still watching that anime, which I hate myself for it. I'm just trying to see where is the shit show going. And speaking of shit shows, speaking of shit shows, can't even talk right now. A complete disaster is Rent a Girlfriend. Rent a Girlfriend is absolutely trash right now. The manga is so fucking terrible right now. Spoilers. Right now, after Chizuru's grandma passes away, that's it. Like that's probably the best part. After that, this whole arc where they're at right now in the hotel is absolutely ass. I don't know what the writer is doing with Rent a Girlfriend, but it is trash. I hate the character development. Kazuya is by far the worst character ever. They did Mitsuhara so dirty, and I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't even want to read it no more. Honestly, I dropped it after the last chapter where like Kazuya starts crying in the pool, and it was fucking terrible. But yeah, I'm not supporting that anime or manga no more either. I'm not even excited for season 2. It's trash. I don't know what the writer is doing with that series. So on a better positive note, there was also like Cobra Kai that came out on New Year's. I watched it. I binged Cobra Kai within a day. I don't want to talk too much about Cobra Kai because a day one fan, Alex Her, wants me to do like an episode dedicated to Cobra Kai. So I'll probably talk more of a deep dive into that in its own episode. But yeah, I thought it was great. Season 4 overall was something I wasn't expecting. That ending was fucking amazing. The choreography is still kind of cheesy, but then I love the story. The writing is superb. I don't care what people say. And Terry Silver came back as a great villain again. I loved it. What else? I'm trying to just not rush this episode because I'm only like, a little over half an hour. Oh yeah, Violet Evergarden. I forgot all about that. Okay, so I can go on about this one. Violet Evergarden was a anime that I just so happened to stumble upon on Netflix. I had it on my saved list, like on my watch list. You know, I liked the animation artwork, and like at the time I didn't know that it was Kyoto Animation that did Violet Evergarden, but something about it always stood out to me. So I finally gave that a chance to watch, and I binged it. And like Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, I watched that show with no expectations. And when I watched that show, my God, it was just so wholesome, so heartwarming. It made me tear up a few times. I was chopping onions watching this. I absolutely loved it. It had like a very Victorian feel, Mary Poppins kind of feel to it. But, with anime writing, it was just such a good story with Violet trying to find the meaning of the phrase, I love you. I don't want to go into too much details because I do want to make an episode about this too. But this anime definitely grew on me. And then I watched the movie when it came out around November. I want to say it's November or October. Like, I think it was around October, November-ish. I watched that. I watched it at home, and that movie made me cry. I'm not gonna lie, that movie made me cry. Not a lot of anime movies do that, but watching Violet Evergarden, I cried watching it. And again, shout out to Anyako because she was one of the voices for one of the characters in that movie. I don't want to spoil it, but you know, she was in there and she did an amazing job. So, good job, Anyako. But yeah, man, that anime is so freaking good. So if you have not watched yet, please watch Violet Evergarden, and please watch Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. um, but yeah, that's pretty much like what I watched and read throughout 2021. I don't want to, and I mean, there was My Hero too, obviously, but My Hero, the manga, they're probably almost done. They're going towards the final arc, from what I recall. Um, the fight with All Might, no, not All Might. The fight with All for One and Stars and Stripe was mind blowing. That's going to be an amazing fight when that's animated. But other than that, I cannot wait to see what's going to happen. Oh yeah, and speaking of My Hero, the third movie, World Heroes Mission. I made a post about it on Facebook, and I think it's on Instagram too. But I guess I could talk a little bit about that. I thought that movie was phenomenal. I watched it twice. I really liked how they gave Midoriya more screen time. They did Todoroki justice, finally fighting his own villain and winning on his own. But Bakugo stole that damn movie. I don't care what anyone says. Bakugo is the best character in My Hero. But yeah, that movie was great. The animation was freaking crazy good. The main villain was a little bit lackluster, but it was typical. But it was just cool to see Midoriya have more screen time on his own and fight on his own without having his classmates with him. So that's really nice to see that they're working more on Midoriya's character instead of him and the entire class all at one time. And I guess that's pretty much it for now. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing this past year in 2021. And before I wrap things up officially here, I do want to talk about what's going to happen for Spoiler Force. Now, again, like I've said, scheduling is going to be different now. With things going on in my personal life, I have to sacrifice something, and I'm going to have to sacrifice time for the podcast. So what I'm planning to do for Spoiler Force, I'm going to have a new intro, new outro, new visuals. Not so much visuals, but like a new logo again. Shout out to my cousin Savannah for making this new Spoiler Force logo for me. So that's going to be, hopefully I can premiere that on episode 107. If you follow me on social media, you'll see the updates within the next couple weeks. And then, again, episode 107 will be with Sailor Salem Cosplay. We'll just be talking about, her experience in cosplaying, conventions and whatnot, anime, Attack on Titan, all sorts of good stuff. But besides that, so after February, episodes will be monthly. So pretty much there's this episode 106, and then episode 107 will be out in January. And then starting February will be monthly releases for the episodes. So that way I have time to still record episodes, but then I'm not going to put so much time into it anymore. So, until I get this whole farming situation settled and get my finances together, so I can invest more in myself and in this brand, episodes will be monthly starting February, which sucks, but I have to sacrifice a lot of things in my personal life and this as well to make some sort of income. But that's what's going to happen. I do have my episodes planned out for the next 6 months. Hopefully they go according to plan. There are certain guests that I really do want to talk to, so I made a list of that. But yeah, man, thank you guys for just following this pretty much 3-year journey. The Spoiler Force third year anniversary is May 2nd. So hopefully I can get a good guest for that episode. But thank you guys for just following, liking, sharing, listening, watching on YouTube, subscribing to any platform, or following me on any social media. Thank you for the support. And again, if you want to support the podcast, you're not obligated to donate or anything. But if you want to start your own podcast too, you can follow the links and use like StreamYard or Buzzsprout, which is what I use. And if you use my links there, you'll get like a $20 Amazon gift card on Buzzsprout, or if you use StreamYard, you get like $10 off your first month. So that'll help me out too. But you don't have to. Just watching and listening is already enough for me. And I'm really aiming for more like a broader, not just audience, but a broader like guest list for my podcast. Like I really want to get more international guests on the podcast and just talk about their experiences. And hopefully later this year, if things go according to plan, I can go to conventions again and try to do panels and try to meet people, meet the fans in person. And a goal of mine is to move to Texas eventually too. So there's a big cosplay community on there, voice acting community. So hopefully, if things go well, I can go to Texas and focus on the podcast there, and just grow this brand. I really appreciate everyone who just has been a part of this. Whether you've been a day one fan, whether you're a new fan or a new follower, whether you're just listening to this once, or whether you listen to other episodes one time, thank you for just showing support during these difficult times. There were just so many times where I just wanted to quit, and seeing the support that you guys do for me just motivates me to not quit. And I just want to say thank you guys again. I can't thank you guys enough, and it really means a lot to see that people still tune in, and hopefully that what I'm doing is good. If you have any feedback or anything like that, that's greatly appreciated, to see how I can edit things better or do things better or change things up a bit to make things different. Again, join the Discord, show your support there as well if you want updates. And lastly, again, I just want to say, to my family that's going through this crisis now, to Lee Mong's family. I love you guys. I love you, Lee. Thank you to the Lemon Dome community, to everyone who's shown support to his family. Thank you to all of you who've shown support to me. It means a lot. And thank you guys so much for that. And if you guys want to support Lee Mong's family, I'll have their GoFundMe on the description here. I don't know when they'll take that down, but if I upload this in the next day or so, it should still be up there. And if you want to support, please do. But if not, then you can just, I believe you can follow Lee's Twitch account, or the Lemon Dome account. I'll have that up on the description too. And you can just donate to his family through the Twitch stream or the Twitch channel. This is pretty much episode 106. Thank you guys so much for just tuning into this first official episode of 2022. Again, stay tuned for episode 107 with Sailor Salem Cosplay. I should have, again, the new logos, new music, new stuff up. Thank you guys so much, and have a great day.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow, like, share, subscribe, and rate Spoiler Force Podcast. If you have any guest recommendations, comments, questions, concerns, or criticism, you can email me at rickyvang92@gmail.com or message me online on any of my social media platforms.